You go live, and
Yep.
I won't leave meeting.
Hello, everybody. Today, we're going to have a talk on spirit and energy. What happened here? And you're muted.
Yeah, I clicked leave meeting by mistake. I'll be right back. Yeah.
All right, cool. Hey, everybody. Today, obviously, we're going to be talking to Jack about spirit and energy. And, I think he wanted to talk about the Quibbeth or something like that. And bear with me right now. I'm trying to find the live stream on YouTube. So there we are. So hi. Hey, what's up, Travis? What's up, Cindy? And what's up, Michelle Seymour? How are you doing? Nice to see y'all here. What's up, Sat Sun? Sat Sun's in his house. As soon as I started this, I noticed Matrix, man, and Matt started a live stream. So yeah, happy Friday the 13th. Yes. Why do you think we put such an emphasis on Friday the 13th? I know lots of things that have happened in the past on that date, but why do you think it's significant to us? Why is it either the worst thing or the best thing for humanity, right? I'm all right. What's a quin? Is that 5? No, that's what is a quin? What is a quin? What is a quin? Reverse marketing? What's up, Lucky Stone? Like the last name, obviously. Yep. So a lot of people would think that spirit is energy or energy is spirit. Well, a long and short of that is, well, in the end, yes, but in the process, no. Two different things. The process is the reason why we're here, right? I mean, process could be the only logical conclusion you could come to. So far, for me, that is. No 13th floor, no 13th row.
What's up, dude? Oh.
Quibbeth. That you wanted to talk about the Quibbeth, right? Or
Clip art.
Quipoth.
The clip art.
That's
Well, I mean, that's just something I suggested when I was talking to you, but it's an interesting subject.
What is it? Long and short of it.
So, clip art is in Hebrew means empty shells. So it's the world of empty. So it's the world of empty shells. So what happens is you have Keter at the top of the tree.
Yeah.
Which is the three vows of Keter, God, the three aspects of metaphysics, and everything develops down the tree to the kingdom, which is the cosmos, Malkut. And then there's like the degeneration of it, the breakdown of reality, which is the inverted tree, which is the Klipoth. So it's supposedly where like the demonic forces reside, essentially. And I don't know, I just thought rather than, because what I'm trying to do, Steve, I'll be honest, I'm trying to understand this zeitgeist from a higher, more spiritual perspective. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's what this whole zeitgeist is about, is to make us see things through a spiritual mindset instead of a physical one.
Well, yeah, this is exactly. This is it. Because like, if you think of like, so we know that like man is the microcosm of the macrocosm. Like we have the seven kingdoms within us. Do you know what I mean? We have the primordial chaos is within us. The abyss is within us, at the center of every atom of our body, loosely speaking. And then like energies in us, we have like the mineral king, we have atoms, we have minerals like the calcium in our bones, like our hairs, like vegetation. And then like we've got our animal side of ourselves, the ruach, and then there's the higher part of ourselves as well. So the six kingdoms, I'll say, are within us. Do you know what I mean?
Yo, I know exactly what you mean. One could think of all of that as the accumulation.
Right, exactly. So with that said, sorry, I'm just trying to find your page here. I'm just trying to pull up the chat. So with that said, basically, so we understand that we're the microcosm of the macrocosm, right? It's to you and I, Steve, and probably, you know, people in the chat, people watch your channel. We know this unequivocally, right? It's absolutely. It's with that said. Oh crap! Sorry, I'm just trying. It's not even up for debate, really, from our perspective. Do you know what I mean?
What do you
Like,
mean?
there's
What's
no
not
point.
a debate?
That man is the microcosm of the macrocosm. It just is what it is. Do you know what I mean? However, so I'm going to try and, so essentially, right, I've been thinking about this. So you have the empty shells. It seems like there has been an agenda to hollow out mankind, basically, from the inside. So the idea that we're just this cosmic accident, we're a speck of dust floating around in space and we're insignificant, we know that's not true. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I know that's not true.
Well,
I know that for sure.
yeah.
You know, the whole
Sorry.
correspondence thing is as above, so below as above, and all of that. And yeah, yes, the
Yeah,
whole
precisely.
hermetic principles are the accumulation process, and you know, all is process, right? That's what, it's kind of funny that you're coming from this perspective when it's exactly what I named the stream, spirit and energy. You know, and I asked
Yeah.
before you got here what people thought of if spirit, you know, because spirit to me is spirit and energy to me in the end are one, but not in the process. They're not. In the process, they're separate. And it's the marriage of those two that recreates it.
Yeah, so energy is energy self-aware?
And you could think of energy as the fallen
Yes.
away from spirit.
Yeah, basically.
And it's the contrast to spirit, just like dark is to light, you know, and they're just, in all things dual, in our dualism that we call reality, everything has to have contrast. Otherwise,
Yeah.
the other would not exist. And some can think of that as pole, right? As the poles, you know, like
Right.
it has two ends, two poles, you know.
But remember, there's the third, you've also got the third principle as well. So you've got obviously the idea of polarity, right? Or the concept of polarity. It's not really an idea, it's more of it's more of a concept. It's more of a the principle of
Yeah,
polarity,
after
right?
the vibration is it needs to be polarized to create something.
But
You need two to make one.
here's an interesting point: is that when you think in the twofold way, like left against right, us against them, it tends to cause a lot of like tension and conflict.
Friction.
So like the friction. Yeah, that's a good way of that's a good adjective. So like the third principle is, for example, the reconciliation between polarity, where there's an agreement from both sides, and that
Still
can
poking the non-duality monkey, huh?
that can kind of like loosen things of a fixed nature up a bit and get more movement and kind of more flow into things again. Things can be more mutable with what I'm trying to say is, instead of like thinking in a twofold way of polarity, if you think in a threefold way, so you've got positive, negative, and then the middle ground in between the two, the 0 point,
Neutron.
it can free things up. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. It can push it either way.
Yeah, it can push it either way. I've got a beer here, by the way. I thought I'd have a beer.
I could tell.
Yeah, it's an Italian beer.
They call it spirits for a reason, brother.
Oh, that's not spirit. That's not hard liquor. But so anyway, right, back to the clip off, right. If you were to go round, say you go to a mall, right, you go to your local fucking, I don't know, they have Westfield Mall in Minnesota.
Do they have what?
They have Westfield Malls. It's a brand of malls, like a company. It's a company that own malls in Southern California. But anyway, if you go to the mall, right, and you just do a survey and interview people, right, just ask them a few questions. And you said to them, is it true that we're the microcosm of the greater macrocosm and everything out there is within us? You'd probably find a lot of people would be like, no, that's ridiculous. Like, that's not logical. Do you know what I mean? So there's been a great deal of effort in this world to hollow out mankind from within. There's definitely been an agenda there. And there's a reason for that agenda. And I'll come on to that because, see, what I discovered is you've got the great work, right? But there's the great work that you and I talk about. But then there's another great work. There's a different one. But the other great work is kind of a phony great work. It's plagiarizing the real great work. And really, it's kind of stupid when you think about it. But so in order for, so essentially, if we think about the zeitgeist, Steve.
I don't think about it.
No, I know I'm not saying you do, but if we, not this current zeitgeist, but generally the principle.
I try not to get caught up in any of it.
That's fine. This is why I'm trying to think about it from a higher perspective. So if you take the spirit of the time, right, people think that the zeitgeist kind of naturally evolves over time and there's natural change and rhythm to it. And that's fair enough if you think that. But what I've learned through probably in the last, especially through this current one with COVID, is that it seems to me that like the zeitgeist is actually being evoked. It's actually being evoked and brought in, and it's kind of inorganic, actually. It's not actually organic. And that's how it's kind of been through history as well. So in order for that, and this is the phony great work, where power seeks to assume more power. basically, right? I sound very social justice warrior in saying that, but the point is, in order for that to be successful, which it is successful, it seems inexorable at times. Yeah, this is way beyond the realm of government. It seems that in order for the phony zeitgeist and the phony great work to keep moving forward, man has to be hollowed out in order for it to work. Because if man is spiritually aware, like say you or I, or people who are on your channel in this chat, it to me it's a masquerade. It's kind of it's not real. Do you know what I mean? Are you following me?
Well, I'm following you, but I've got a good way to explain what feeds the zeitgeist, and how I just realized how to articulate it was, we by default receive the same signal. We just interpret it differently due to the up to the minute perception of what your experiences, your personal experiences with this reality have been up to that point. And reality turns out to be the perception of what you see it as now, in coordination with everybody else's perception of what it is. And that's exactly what feeds it. And the steering wheel is the media box, you know?
Yes. That's the instrument by which it's evoked.
And
yes.
If everything is from one source, then you got to ultimately conclude that, you know, it's there for a reason.
Yeah, you know? Man. Yeah, no, I'm glad you said like the media box. Like that's so true. That's so true.
It's, you know, it had me fooled to the point where, you know, it's that thing is a product of my perception as well. That's what I'm getting at. Is now if I don't see through that perception, in that perception of a perception, then my perception will be misleading and, you know, bring me down a fork in the road that I don't need to go down, because it'll just take me twice as long to get back there. You know, and that's
absolutely.
That's what it's all about, in my opinion, and that's what makes free will the simplest choices. You know, the instant choices you make every day. Right now, how you just chose not to talk, that choice right there. Those little choices are what free will are, you know, and we can choose to, you know, to do whatever we want. And that feeds perception on all levels, and it feeds reality, right? Because that's all reality is perception.
Yeah. I forgot what I was going to say now, because I was
sorry.
No, don't apologize.
I'm just like you.
Don't apologize at all. Yeah, no, that was it. Free will. So I've kind of rediscovered my free will in the last week, like truly rediscovered it, because like my parents were like, you know, what you doing? Like, you need to get a job. Like, you've got 3 years experience in your field of study in like electronics and engineering. There's loads of work around. Like, my dad was like wanting to try and help me get a job and contact like recruitment agencies and stuff. And he could see like I wasn't really making the effort. And I was like, Dad, I got to be honest with you. Like, I don't want to do this with my life. And he was like, well, what do you mean? What are you going to do? What are you going to do for money? Like, how are you going to live? Like, you can't like live with us forever, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's understandable from his perspective. And I was like, look, I think I should just play music and start teaching kids. I could make enough money. I could make the same money in a year's time if I get students and stuff. And I just want to play, basically. And it seems like kind of selfish in a bit way that I'm like, I'm basically shunning society. I've finally decided to shun all the systems of governance that unconsciously push us into like, you know, go to work for 40 hours a week to pay for your house that you're never in because you're at work, and buy clothes and nice fucking shoes. So blah, blah, blah. So the consumerist worker mentality, I've totally broken out of that this week. Like, I broke out of it with Lizzie before she got sick. And it was her idea, actually. Remember, I bought that piano for like fucking $6,000. And, but when she got sick, I was living on my own in a foreign country. And like, you know, in America, you get no fucking help. You're on your own. Like, so I was back at work in order to like essentially not be on the street, Steve, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, I don't have that issue at the moment. Like, I don't have to go to work every day just to keep a roof over my head and make ends meet. I'm not in that position now. So I'm a bit more, there's more liberty and I've got more freedom to go, okay, what am I going to do? And that's why I want to teach, particularly kids as well, because if I do that, then I'm also giving back, you know. And this is another thing. I think, like, obviously the grand true purpose in life is the great work, right? I get that, right? It's everyone's destiny to complete the great work at some stage in their soul's evolution, right? But I think part of that, I realize, is like, I think humans are supposed to help other humans that are less intelligent, less wise, poorer, more challenged in certain ways. Like, we're supposed to help other people. And the construct that we live in, people are so worried, particularly in America. You know, you've got 150, maybe 200 million working class Americans, all just trying to survive, you know, to keep afloat. You know, what's that statistic? How many Americans like haven't even got $500 in savings in the bank? And this construct like stops us from like, I can't help you, mate, because I got to be at work.
Oh, it's contrast, right? It's the energy for the spirit.
What do you mean by that in relation to
what I mean by that? It's like you have a choice then, you know, if you're so accustomed to, or so, you know, whatever, blessed to, or, you know, lucky, or, you know, unlucky to, you know what I mean? To experience that even thought. Because if you're not on that level, like you were just saying about, you know, some people just, you know, it's your duty to help fellow humans out, you know, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Well, the teacher does not appear until the student is ready, right? I mean, that's just a common.
Not even in the sense of teaching in terms of help.
No, like, I mean, just, you know, just as a mentorship or whatever. I mean,
right.
Unless I'm looking for it, your words aren't going to fall favor on me at all.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
that's exactly what makes it personal.
Yeah, yeah. You can't help someone that doesn't actually want help.
And yeah, your aha moments and your reasoning, and that's brought you to your reason and your reasoning and your wisdom, and, you know, all of your personal path is completely different from mine, and it's not going to ring the same way it rang for you. And so therefore, when we try to convey that and articulate our experience as the ultimate truth, we cannot ever relay it in a way that you're gonna feel the same way I felt about it. Because in the end, perception is feeling, you know, the right, you know, the vibration or whatever, you know what I mean? The frequency, it resonates with you, you know, all that. So
yeah, no, that's completely true. You know, you don't know.
And that it's taken me a long time to even realize that, and I still find myself, you know, spewing out all this information that I don't know, you know, personally. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it's not from yeah. No, I
Yes.
understand what you mean. Like it's more from what you've learned rather than what you've
Yes. What makes
experienced.
sense to me in my journey. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? But even the way you say your journey, a journey implies a destination. Do you know what I mean?
Journey implies destination. Yes, it does. And in a anthropomorphic, in our entropy, we tend to think linear. You know, there's a start and a stop, or a beginning and an end.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
the left brain, definitely. The left brain is much more logical and linear. So apparently,
and to me, I think the zeitgeist feeds on that, and that's our perception of change and death, and our entropy in the system. And that's what's
it
causing it, as well as us perceiving it that way. It's definitely,
but the thing about this
self-perpetuating.
thought though, the 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 wheels of the whole zeitgeist is very Saturnian to me. It's very because it moves slowly, but it's always shifting the definition of it and changing. Like what democracy was 100 years ago is sure as hell not what democracy is today. It's in motion basically. It's not a fixed definition, right? And what was I going to say? My point. Do you know what I think really does feed the zeitgeist quite heavily is it kind of it preys on people's unconsciousness. It really does. It really does prey on people's unconsciousness because and I'll tell you what I mean by this. You're saying you're sitting there when you're like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm done. I'm not focusing on this. Blah blah blah. Well, I
Yeah.
can't. I'm not trying to put words in your
No,
mouth.
you're right. That's exactly what I was thinking that, but there was also another
Yeah,
thing I was thinking, but you know what I was thinking, so you know.
yeah. So like for example, so it. I find it quite. I find it quite predatory in nature, and I feel like I've just realised, although I had realised it before, I never really truly believed it within myself. But now I'm back home, and I have less pressure on me to sustain the material world. I've still got to deal with it anyway, but I don't have to fucking pay rent, is what I'm trying to say, Steve. Like, because I'm now in this situation, it's like there's less. What am I trying to say? I kind of, like I said, I've realized I can be like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to discover who I am now. I'm not going to go to work 40 hours a week in a job that I don't really like. I don't mind toiling, but I'd much rather toil at something towards my own development rather than just numbers on someone else's portfolio. Do you know what I mean? In a commercial sense. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I know what you're saying.
Like, well, I'm sure you do. I'm sure you understand exactly what I'm saying. And like, really just, just to tell my dad, like, look, Dad, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And I can do this. I have the opportunity. So why should I squander the opportunity? Because I mean, like, I could, within a couple of years, I'd probably, if I stick at it now, I'd have enough kind of clients and stuff doing teaching and stuff to, pay my own way and go and rent
Well,
my own
I
place
can tell
again.
you one thing: you're a hell of a talent on the piano, man.
Yeah, no, I can play. It's not like I'm saying, okay, I want to be a doctor. I want to go and study medicine. And my dad's going, you you've never read any book on medicine, why do you want to suddenly start now? There's loads of people so far ahead of the game. They've got so much more skin in the game than you. You know, it's something that's been going on, you know. But I don't know, it's I've basically had to overcome the programming from, I should have done this when I was 20, Steve. I should have made this decision when I was 20 years old. But because of societal pressure and me not having the inner fortitude or the awareness to go, okay, I'm going to do my own thing, I've just played into the game of the zeitgeist, basically, unconsciously, to the detriment of myself, you know, because I said to my dad as well, I was like, look, if I've got a job I don't really enjoy, I'm going to live for the weekend. And that's fucking dangerous for me. I shouldn't be someone living for the weekend. You know why that's dangerous for
Well,
me.
when you become single all of a sudden in your circumstance, that's to be expected.
Yeah, it's true. People want to go out and party when they get out of a bad
Just our
breakup.
culture. That's just how it works. I mean,
yeah. Well, I do think, like, you know, the reason for like drugs and stuff is all an attempt to subdue emotional pain. It really is why people, you know, you know, like a lot of people viscerally hate drug addicts and they think they're like the scum of the earth and they have no like moral character or anything like that. I don't think that's true. I think most of them have been just traumatized by life. And there's just been so much complexity thrown upon their psyche, they don't know how to deal with it. And they end up getting hooked on drugs and stuff like that, you know, like heroin or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, you checking out the chat?
yeah, I was talking to Tracy Smith had said everyone is on their own yellow brick road. And yeah. And it ultimately brings us to where? Brings us home.
Yes.
Kansas.
As soon as you said everyone's on their own yellow brick road, I just thought, okay, so who's the Wizard of Oz? Instantly, I was like, okay, so the wizard is the demiurge, Yaldabaoth, right? The devil, right? Is the wizard.
Yes.
But this plays back into the phony great work where people, rather than see it as the logos, they see it as the ruling elites, the dreaded they, Steve. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And I don't know what Menz is saying. He said, just escapism, like sport, movies, etc. In my honest opinion, what are you talking about? Down, down, down the rabbit hole we go. Careful how deep you want to know. And that's exactly my point. I mean, there is always enmity within us, whether it's going to bring us to, you know, the ultimate evil or the ultimate good is incumbent upon how we decide to view that situation, right? So then in the end, it's perception through action, you know, and that's what reality is.
Certainly one aspect of it, you know.
Well, yeah, right. But I mean, it all comes back to perception, though, and how you perceive it and how you deal with that perception. So if you're going down rabbit holes and you're going down, 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 you know, and you dig, 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 and you just keep finding it, you always end up with this moment of now what? Every rabbit hole I've ever been down. Now what?
You were just talking about perception, right? You know, that I guess that's why there is such a overwhelming effort to censor alternative views to the mainstream narrative as well. At the mainstream narrative at the moment, there's an overwhelming, ridiculously brutal, vicious effort to censor anyone who dares have a different opinion. And that's really because of what you said about perception. You know, you can
Yes.
control people's perception. You can control their reality. You know, my cousin said something so terrible.
You ultimately, if you're saying you're prey, there's got to be a predator. And can we honestly say there is one predator, one group of people after?
I don't think there's a
humanity?
predator, but I think it's like this.
You know,
I
why
think-
even go there? Is my point.
Well, no. Well, the reason I'm because it's like I said at the beginning, I'm trying to understand.
No, I know. I'm
What's
not saying
going
it
on
to
from
you.
my
I'm
perspective.
just saying in the end, that's what I say to myself.
Yeah. I guess you're a bit older, so you've got the wisdom of years over me, Steve. You can go fuck it.
You fuck you.
No, I don't
You
mean
call
that.
me
No,
old, you
I didn't
cocksucker.
mean
No.
that as a pejorative. Actually, quite the opposite. I was kind of looking up to you as an elder.
I'm 13, 14, 15 years older than you. How old are you? 33?
I'm 33, yeah.
Yes.
You got 15 years of life
Yep.
experiences more than
15
me.
years on you, yes.
But they're 15 elder years as well. Like, well, 15 years is 15 years.
Yes,
so
and you've
learned a lot in
down Set. Isn't it odd that Set is the same Set of the Egyptian paradigm, of, Set and Osiris and all that shit. And
Yeah.
Set means what? What does Set mean? Anointing, right?
Yeah.
So as you wane in your age and get closer to your grave, you're really getting closer to the point in which you realize that this world is just the contrast for spirit, or the place in which spirit to define itself or refine itself, our understanding of itself, or it's just the process to, be. I don't know exactly, but that's where I'm at right now. That's the long and short of it. And I do know that when we think, it ultimately comes out in manifestation. What we think is acted upon. Ultimately, we can be aware of all we want to be aware of, but if we're constantly down them paths of thought, eventually that thought, them paths, you're standing out in front of the Capitol, all of a sudden you're one of the people running into the Capitol with a flag, and you're one of the you know what I'm saying? It's like that, dude. And that's how nature
protest.
But you know what I'm saying?
Man, the other
You're
day,
just walking by with your girlfriend, all of a sudden the opportunity presented itself, and you're one of the Capitol attackers. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, they tried to storm the BBC this week, like about 500 protesters. There was this door, and there was only about 10 cops on the door, and like about 500 came up. And the cops ain't got guns here, like, because in America they just put a gun on you and they go back the fuck up, and people back the fuck up. And like, man, they were having a proper punch up with the police at the front door. And I was like, but what are you achieving by doing this? You can't change the system within the system, Steve. It can't be done. You can't take the government to court and change the course of the zeitgeist. You can't.
No, that's my point.
Yeah. No, I know. That's why I'm trying to think of it from a higher perspective. I was wondering, though, and this is kind of a really, I don't know what you're going to say, but I have had I've been having these intuitive feelings of late that something really, really terrible is going to happen. That it will pass, but a really awful event is in the works right now. And yeah, in years to come, in lifetimes to come, yeah, it won't matter so much. But while I'm in the now, right? So like, what I'm wondering, right? Are we living? I'm going to ask you this straight up, and if you say, "Hey, I don't want to talk about it and move on," fine, I accept that. But it seems to me like, and I don't know if this is true, but are we living through a genocide at the moment?
matters not to me. All that matters to
Say
me.
that.
It doesn't really. It doesn't, because I do not give it. I don't think I haven't lost faith in humanity yet, man. And the second you lose faith in humanity, you're starting to think like that. Like we're living
No,
through.
I've never lost. It's not that I've lost faith in humanity at all, but it seems to me that
I think what you're talking about is a manifestation of that attitude, right? That you just having that thought in your head.
Yeah.
I think it reinforces it. I'm not saying it's because you think it that it is. You know what I mean?
Oh, I hope I'm wrong.
You know what I'm saying? What's the biggest way to steer a narrative? We just said it earlier. Was the media
Perception.
box? Yeah, the media box, right? I mean, the media box is a steering wheel for the world. Period. And whether or not there's one group at the helm or just individual greedy, stupid, ignorant people, you know. And in the end, those greedy, stupid, ignorant people are just contrast to what we think is right or wrong, you know. And that's the whole thing of creation and the whole gobbledygook of the mess that we find ourselves in. You know, the mess we find ourselves in didn't just come up overnight. It was something that manifested over years and years and years, and it's because of what
Billy Joel
reality is.
Billy Joel, we didn't start the fire; it was always burning.
Right. There you go.
Yeah. Mensa's put something interesting in the chat. He thinks could well be we have to wait and see. To my question,
yeah.
But look, there's one. I'm going to say something so diabolical now, but I'm just going to say it. If we are in a massive genocide, at least all the woke people will be banished to hell. All the orcs will return back to Mordor. That'll be one good thing about it.
Wobbly Boost says,
I'm going to regret saying that.
When a human... sorry.
Go on. We both had a thought.
Dude, my bad.
I can't remember what I was going to say now.
I'm sorry, dude.
No, don't apologize.
When a human desires to be evil, careless of life's wonder, callous and unempathic, they are still us. They are still human. They just stop trying or crying like a toddler in a tantrum.
Yeah, so I've been reading this book, Steve, called The Technological Society by Jacques Ellul. And it's basically about the fake great work, how everything is a result of planning and implementation, and it's preying upon human unconsciousness. So this guy was a brilliant student of human psychology, both individually and collectively. And he was explaining how the history books that we have read, his story, are not actually how it actually went down in reality. And it's more like, it's like, for example, in years to come, they'll say, oh, terrorists blew up the World Trade Center in 100 years' time, and that's what everyone will believe. And then they'll say, oh, there was this terrible pandemic that was blah, blah, blah. When us living in the time, it's not actually like that. And here's the crux of it, going back to higher thinking. Here's what I'm contemplating, right? You know, we've explored the difference between soul and spirit. My new theory is, okay, I'm not going to speak for you, I'm going to speak for myself. Here's the crux of this. My theory is it that I don't have a soul because that egg, that soul that houses the spirit that's reborn, has already ascended in a past life? So I'm actually a spirit, because spirit is a tricky customer. You can't fucking pull the wool over a spirit's eyes. It's very difficult to deceive and play games with a spirit, because the spirit exists in a timeless state. So it would surely know if there's something surreptitious going on. Do you know what I mean? It
Well,
would be
that's
like,
the whole Santa Claus. Yeah.
so I'm starting to think there seems like there's not just a great spiritual awakening occurring at this time. There also seems to be a great political awakening occurring at this time. And I think the two are interconnected, because obviously the more spiritually aware the more spiritually aware I've become, the more I've been able to see through the masquerade of the zeitgeist and go, this is bullshit. You know, this is some phony ass crap. I know obviously it's all gonna die and wither like the grass anyway, but I'm just in the moment. It just I ain't fucking buying any of it anymore, Steve. I'm just really not. And it just all seems so fake. Kind of like Morpheus in the Matrix, you know. I'm kind of like feeling like that now. But I'm not saying we're in a computer simulation. I think that's bullshit. I think reality is analog. I've worked with analog electronics and stuff, you know. So I think that whole construct is a misnomer from misunderstanding mysticism. But
well, it goes like the flat Earth is. It's the same.
Oh, that's it's all. But this is the thing: you can make people believe fucking anything nowadays.
That's exactly what I was getting at right there. Is perception is everything.
I mean, it's. Do you know what? I don't even care if the Earth.
And I was right there perceiving that Nibiru was real, and deep down it was because it was the same story of every story that's ever been told.
But Nibiru is real. It's
Yeah,
just not real in a physical sense.
No,
it's real in a metaphysical sense.
We are Nibiru. We are the crossing point. I mean,
yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
I like
those. 6119 is saying something completely true about sigil magic. See, this all these. There's all so much marketing done on us. Yes. You know, the average American kid has seen over
consumerism in us.
Yeah, the average American kid has seen over 1 million adverts by the age of 16.
Because we are
even if it's just a quick, even if it's quick in the corner of your eye, you go past the McDonald's billboard and it's just in the corner of your eye. You know what I mean? I just. It's very interesting, but yeah, there's just so much bullshit out here, Steve. There's
bullshit everywhere. So it's getting deeper.
There's so much fake nonsense that
it's because everybody's got a platform now, man.
Well, no, I'm not. Well, I mean, like that's what Alistair
That's what it is. In the past, you couldn't get your message out there at all, unless you had a newspaper or you had connections of a newspaper. You know, I mean, now all you got to do is log on and do a Zoom meeting. You know, and you got influence. You know, and most of the stuff out there is nonsense. You know, who's to say what I'm saying isn't nonsense to somebody else? You know. So
I think I just realized as well, Steve, like as a child, I was very, very like right-brained as a little kid. And, you know, my youth, my school and your youth, just totally fucking like.
At the age of 7, it starts.
And
that's right when we lose our belief in Santa Claus, usually. And isn't that odd?
Do you know? Have you heard of
when you're sleeping? He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why.
Yeah.
Santa Claus is coming. I mean, right there. What does that say? What is that to you?
Oh, that's very mystical, though, isn't it?
What is that to you now? Before, I mean, I sang that song my whole life, and it always meant something to me. That was all consumerism. It was all consumerism. But what is it really saying? And isn't that the contrast? You got to find what the message is. It's the Janus of our reality. You know, a Janus word is a word that can go either way, but it's the same word, you know? And
You got
that's
an
what
example?
huh? You know, yeah, January is named such because it's the last and the beginning, you know?
No.
It's,
Well, I'm good. I'm born in January.
but you know what I mean? That's what it's about. You
Yeah.
know,
No, yeah, my birthday's on January the 22nd. It's really a bad time of year because everyone's consumed out from Christmas. And then it's the end of the following month. So everyone's broke waiting to get paid again. Oh man. But
well, I
anyway,
don't think
yeah,
that,
I
yes,
just
that sun says so is perception the ultimate absolute truth. No, no, the absolute truth is the omni God, you know, omnipotent God. And that's what we're all part of. And I think
Vishnu.
the closer we become in resonant with that highest
Mm.
one true self, and that's why I think we're all connected through this energy, or you know, through this spirit, which is the opposite of energy, which is both actually. You know, God is both. You know, is the creator of it all. But I mean, it's the process of the two marrying that makes us, you know, an angel, or you know,
But that's
brings
the thing.
bliss.
Yeah, it seems like spirit does need the material cosmos for contrast.
Well, I don't
And
know if it needs priority, or you know, I don't think it needs anything. It's just it's something about the process that, you know, otherwise what
certainly,
there would be nothing, you know. I mean,
well, this is
and
it. I
from
mean, like,
nothing everything is. So
spirit certainly does make use of physical manifestation, though, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean by that?
what
It
did you
does.
say? Say it again.
Spirit makes use of the cosmos, doesn't it? It obviously is getting something out of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I don't think it needs you know,
Well, no. God, or Vishnu doesn't
like that,
need
yeah, that
anything.
Vishnu, the Bhagavad Gita, and like
Cannot add, you cannot add anything to God, or you
exactly that,
cannot
exactly.
take anything away from
Ineffable.
God,
Right.
because it's ineffable and in a state
It's
of total
beyond description,
completion.
yes.
Well, I just tried to describe it,
Right.
but
Yeah, and that's what we do. That's what we do because we are creatures of wrath. We've got to, you know, wrathfully take everything apart, wrathfully use up everything. We're just bottomless pits in our energy state. And what is our energy state? It's the process from the spirit, you know, falling back down and getting back up. Zero to here.
I do find like Yaldabaoth's claims. You know, when like people in the Bible, they always claim to be, I'm king. I do find that kind of funny in a way. Here's something. What if, you know, it talks about, is it the 8th chapter of the Emerald Tablets, the invaders from the deep?
Yes.
What if, here's a spin on this. I'll be a metaphysical spin doctor here, Steve. What if, okay, the invaders from the deep are us, and we are invading Yaldabaoth's throne and taking it from him?
The invaders of the deep are our thoughts of that misleading path.
No, like we are the invaders from the deep. We're
Well,
okay.
in a way, I guess you could say that.
I'm
But we
explaining
are,
that.
like you were saying earlier, the empty shells and all that. I don't know where you were going with that whole thing about the empty
Oh
shells.
yeah, I went on a tangent. So back to the clip off. Well, really, you know, like Richard Dawkins is complaining that atheism doesn't have enough traction. I'm like, is he smoking crack or something? It's like atheism seems to me like it's venerated now. And what I find so bizarre is that the materialist thinkers who believe everything can be explained by Newtonian mechanics, they it's all Newtonian mechanics. But it's like, hold on, Isaac Newton was a fucking magician and he practiced alchemy. He was an occultist. He didn't think the way that these people think at all. Yet they think everything can be described using the system named after him. There's some irony in that. There's some real irony in that. But, I just...
Menza says Dawkins is a knob.
Who said that?
Menza.
Yeah, he is a fucking knob. Yeah. He really is. Lawrence Krauss as well. He's such a douchebag. Who else? I gotta be honest. I can't stand these people. I really can't. They don't piss me off, and I'm not angry at them. But they are the high priests of the Klipoth. They are hollowing out people. There's this hollowing out process of man, and that is enabling these vicious zeitgeists to come and go. Because if this was a planet of highly spiritual aware beings, this construct wouldn't exist.
How do you achieve highly spirit beings?
Well, this is what I think's happening. I think in order for spirit to deal with the mess on this planet, I don't know about other planets in the cosmos, and I can't speak for them. Maybe some of them are worse than Earth. Maybe some are more free than Earth. Maybe there is no such thing as a free world in the cosmos. Although the Hermetic Corpus alludes to that.
I find it odd that the Earth was the center of the known universe.
Maybe it is.
And now we're further away from that concept. But to me, we are the center of our own universe. That's pretty much our perception of the whole adds to the whole with everybody else's perception of that whole.
Yeah, I just maybe because look, if you're incarnated in the cosmos, you're going to have no memory, and you're going to be in a world with a bunch of people with no memory from their birth. So the idea that like in Bill and Ted, where they go into the future and they go to like that enlightened planet where they're all playing the guitar.
Yep.
Do you know the scene I'm talking about? It's quite a funny scene. Maybe there aren't beings in the cosmos like that. Like, I think that the idea that if things are more, I don't think technology is particularly helping man's spiritual plight. If anything, it's making it worse.
It's another distraction, yes.
It's like what's that System of a Down song about the prison?
I find it odd that we thought that the most technically unadvanced of our civilizations left so much more behind than we ever will because of our consumerism and, just our building techniques, everything, in our inability to see beyond the nose on our face.
Yeah.
And I think it's just a rhythm. The rhythm is gonna get you. The rhythm is gonna get you. Well, who's that? Who sang that song?
Oh, I don't know.
That just came in my mind. But I mean, the rhythm is another one of those Hermetic principles. It starts off with mentalism. Mentalism is the Janus point of the whole loop of seven, right? It's the beginning and it's the end. Or it's the result, and it's the prioria or primer, right?
Yeah, I
So
feel better about having a birthday in January now. You've mentioned that. But isn't like March the 3rd? Because October would be the 8th month, but it's the 10th month. What's that all about?
I have no idea.
You know, here's another thing. I went up to my local church the other day, Steve, and there were all these signs like no one can come in the church without a face mask, the Church of England. And I'm like, these fucking clergy don't fucking believe in God, really. They can't be that, they can't really have that much faith. Like, what? How can you not be allowed in the church without a face mask? It's totally unscientific. I got to be careful here. I don't want to get your YouTube channel fucking destroyed, but yeah. I was thinking, Steve, you should set up another channel so we can slag off Google more. Or, well, I'll slag off Google on my own channel. I'll let you do what you want with your channel, but
Yeah,
you're quite attached to your channel, aren't you?
no, I'm attached to the people that I communicate through my channel.
Yes. Yeah. That's
And
kind of what I meant.
I pride myself on not doing any editing to anything I talk about. You know, I'm not really a pomp and circumstance kind of guy. I should be a little more orderly and clean up my channel a little bit so it's easier to find stuff, because I'm getting upwards of 500 videos, not like somebody that was just mentioned in chat has like 5,000 videos. I mean, that's pretty extensive. I mean, that's a lot of videos.
You want to go?
But my point is that I want to just contribute from a day-to-day learning platform, because that's essentially why I started my channel, was to have a place in which to share the same thoughts, or to bounce thoughts off of. But that is morphed now into a place where I try to I'm trying to surround myself with different thinking people, or invite people that have a different perspective on things, just to give me contrast so it doesn't create an echo chamber, and that's,
yeah, we should get.
and that's why I talk with you, man. Really, in the end, because you're on your 15 years younger than me, and you're more attached to the zeitgeist, what's happening now type, and maybe I'm not attached enough to it. So that's,
no, I'd rather be in your position of being more indifferent to it, but I just,
well, I'm not indifferent to it, and I'm not saying I ignore it, and I'm not saying I'm not aware of it, but in the end, I say to myself, what can I do about it right now?
I think all we can really do is use it as a tool to learn.
And that's exactly what I've tried to do. And whenever you try to...
You're trying to tell me this for months, Steve.
You try to tell anybody it, dude. You try to tell anybody it that is caught up in it, they're not going to hear you because they're not ready for it yet. And they have to go through that to realize it. And I'm not saying that I'm any better than anybody else, and because I've reached that understanding either, because your understanding may be completely different than mine in the end, but it's all process. And I'm not saying I'm further down the road or closer or anything. I'm just saying that my process is just, I found it. This is how I found it. And that's why I do this, because we come to these thought-provoking situations. What is true free will? That's a big one. And I mean, in the end, that is just your minute-to-minute choices. That's what your true free will is. Some would say we don't even have free will, but we have the.
No, we do. We absolutely have free will.
The choice.
And I'll tell you how I know that.
Perceive certain things.
Steve, I literally feel like this week I've discovered my free will for the first time in my life. I mean, yes, I've made decisions before and acted upon my free will, but I feel like I've found it because the left brain construct of consumerist society, I'm basically saying to it, no, I've had enough. I'm done. And I mean, look, I could just get on with it anyway. I could just do it and get on with it, and I could do that, but I'm I'll never get that good at jazz if I do that. And my soul has this real burning desire to real play good jazz.
And in the
Can't
end, that's what you're
escape it. It's
supposed
in my,
to.
it's like it's in my heart. Like,
And what does that say to you? You know, people that are creative tend to, feel more. I don't know. It feels good to let it out what you're trying
it's
to
very
create.
strange because a
Yes.
piece of music is almost like a story. It's almost like a microcosm of one's life. It's very weird because the piece of music is illusory from an absolute perspective. It doesn't really exist, but it does evoke a state of consciousness. And states are almost like archetypes. They're almost eternal. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Is a state eternal? Well, as an archetype it is, because archetypes do have this fixed quality about them, right? That's why history repeats itself. Like, I can't remember, I was watching this video the other day, Steve, and this dude started banging on about the goddamn archons. And he did, I can't remember who it was. And he was like, oh, the archons, they could be these alien beings, blah, 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 blah. And
Well, that's what's going on. I mean,
yeah, but see, the archons are really they're the layers of accumulation and creation and the archetypes. I think he even says in the Nag Hammadi they're 7 in number. I've seen it where it says the archons are 12 in number, and I've seen it where it says they're 7 in number. It's very interesting. It's very interesting.
7, 5, 12, and 3, and 9, and 8. Don't forget the 7. Oh,
you know what's interesting as well? Phil was saying how I think I mentioned this in the chat the other day, but in his Revelations videos, he was talking about how, like, the ark, the logos or the light, like angels actually live in it. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Right. That is depicted at the end of Lord of the Rings, totally. When Gandalf and Frodo get on the boat and go out into the ocean, and Sam can't go because it's not his time. He hasn't completed his.
I haven't seen that movie, so I don't.
You need to watch all 3 of them. They are so brilliant. If you understand, like scripture from Phil and Yvonne, Lord of the Rings will blow you away. There is no doubt in my mind that Tolkien was a Christian mystic. There's no doubt in my mind. And not like a good one as well. Not just like, oh yeah, I'm a mystic. He was a good one. Whether he was illuminated or not, I don't know. Maybe he was. I don't know. And I don't know that. But yeah, damn, he's so good. You need to watch those movies. They are. I think that Lord of the Rings is so much better than the Matrix trilogy, because the Matrix leaves people thinking we live in a computer simulation, which is bullshit.
It pretty much is. But I mean, not in a computer.
No, but it's not. It's not a digital. I mean, in getting technical, it's not a digitized computer simulator. Yeah, the cosmos is an automaton, and it has been programmed by a higher order being or God.
And so where does the reproduction of the seed in the seed fit into the mix? Why does that happen?
Continuity.
Why does the only begotten reoccur, reborn? Why are we reborn, in the light in that eternity. Because it's the process, right? It's got to be. That's the only logical conclusion you can come up with. Why? You know, I mean, I'm still there. I'm not really. It's like, why? Okay, so yeah, the light is recreated. That's Jesus and Lucifer all in one, because Lucifer is the indifferent truth of, you know, life is just life and you're going to die. Get over it. You know, that's what Lucifer aspect of it. But the light being reborn in you, because you're the seed planted on earth for in the Garden of Eden in the Milky Way to reproduce that light again. What is the reason for that? What is the reason for it? And I've asked Phil this, and he kind of danced around it. I think he danced around it. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe I didn't ask him exactly that question. But that's where, because I understand.
Are you asking? Are you?
No, okay. So
no, hold on.
It is creation. It is that he did answer it. Don't scratch that. He did answer it, and he said that's creation itself. The light's on. Is anybody home? You know. Right.
So what was your question? Was why? Why
is the light recreated within us? Right.
Well, isn't that because creation and ascension are the same thing?
Yes.
It's a circuit.
And that's why I scratched when I said Phil didn't answer that, because he did. And he said it's creation. Ascension is creation.
Yeah, I dreamt about it the other night, dude.
Yes.
I told you about this, didn't I? I didn't see the light.
That's exactly what popped into my head when I was like, wait a minute, we just talked. And then it brought me right back to, he did answer that question.
Yes.
But it just felt fresh in my mind because I was meaning to ask it like that, and I didn't ask like that. You know, how I articulated it right there, you know, because there is the aspect of us being time entropy in a timelessness, in a moment of time, creating a timelessness, which is that light and the abyss all at once, you know, through us. So, you know, that's hard to wrap your mind around if you're not familiar with the experience. And we will all be babes in the woods until we become part of that club of experiencing it. And anybody that thinks an Anunnaki was some alien being that came and helped man, well, yeah, they were alien to us, just like anybody would be alien to anybody if they had the true knowledge within them, you know, because an Anunnaki was anybody who recreated the light, who saw the light, who met God and reproduced the light of the world, the only begotten Son.
Yeah, I definitely prefer the Indian take on Brahma being the greatest thing ever versus the Gnostic, like, thrash metal version of it. I definitely resonate more with because I think it should be celebrated.
Well, the Gnostic aspect is just how I was stating the Lucifer aspect is to a Christian, you know, but the Christian religion, but the religion is like Yvonne said, religion is there to teach you what true spirituality is, how to find God, regardless if you think it's true or not. But it brings you to the same place because you're knocking on the door.
Religion is failing. Religion is failing, and I'll
whether or not it's failing or succeeding, it's bringing us to the same conclusion, though. That's the point.
No, but here's the problem that I see with religion at the moment. Like, if I look at comments from Christians, many Christians right now are convinced that we are living in end times. There's a big genocide. Only God's children will be left. The mark of the beast. I found this
Well,
video.
that fear
Like,
in
it was
us.
like, there was like, is the mark of the beast the vaccine or microchip or both? And I was going to comment like, no, the mark of the beast is the mark of enlightenment, and it's the light within the illuminated psyche.
Yeah.
But you just can't say this shit to a Christian. They're
No.
going to look at you like you're the devil, even
Well,
though you
you
are
are.
the devil. Yeah, I know, but hold on. Hold on.
No, you are.
No, right. So, like, if you go on Christian videos that are looking at this current zeitgeist from that Christian perspective, they are missing the mark. Not just by a bit, Steve. Massively. Massively. Maybe this, though, maybe they'll all come together, Christians, and go, because Christians have been totally abandoned by their clergies and their churches during this whole pandemic. The priests,
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
No, they have been. They've been screwed over.
You see that now? That's where you fall short, and you can't just put everybody in a category.
No, I'm not. I'm saying not
churches
Christians,
that are
not Christians,
part of people's
Steve.
religion.
Let me qualify that.
Yeah.
The clergy have let down Christians at the moment. They have let them down massively, I feel. And I just, yeah, the vaccine. See, this is the fake great work. There's a real great work and there's a fake great work. And the fake great work is the control system on Earth keeping itself going. That's the phony great work, the creation of fake kings and queens. Where the creation
what's to be controlled unless there's no control, or what signifies control to the controllee?
Okay, instead of the word control.
I mean, no, I don't mean it like that. I mean, if you consider yourself to be under the thumb of somebody or something, you're going to be under the thumb of that somebody or something.
No, yeah, you're then imprisoned in your mind at that point.
Yeah. So,
if you have to police your own language and not say something for fear that it's offensive, and
I want everybody to do this thought exercise for me. Just everybody that even gives two shakes and a shit or whatever, if you care in the least amount, do this for yourself. Every time you hear the word they, from now until my next live stream, take stock of what that does in your feeling, what you feel right here in your heart when you hear that word, in every context that you hear it. And you'll find yourself going, wow.
Did I just say they?
Wow.
You said that.
I mean, wow. You just do it over and over, and it's like, wow. And every time it invokes a feeling of loss of control or fear in you.
Yeah.
Every time. It does.
Yeah.
It does. It's just weird.
You're right. You're right.
It points to something that is just beyond my understanding, but it's weird. It gives you just this thought of, wow, and that's why I say they is nothing to me, because, it's, there are people that are far off from my way of thinking, but in the end, we're humans, and we're all gonna fall and bump our knee or fall, some fall farther than others. I get it, but I'm not saying that the people that are murdering people are right either. So don't get me wrong there. And I'm not saying there isn't evil in the world. Far from it. But and then do a thought exercise. The people that use the word "but," I mean, then you start realizing that just your words in themselves are swords. And
I figured out a manipulative way to get around saying "but." I think you're really good, but you pause and you go, now with that said,
right.
Saying "but."
Right.
But yeah, man, yeah. I guess the point I'm trying to get. God, this one beer's gone to my head a little bit. I'm gonna put that back. But, yeah, I just feel like, I don't know. I guess it's just going through the Great Tribulation. The Great Tribulation is really within yourself, but that what's happening in the external world is a cumulative representation of the tribulation within everyone, you know?
Yes.
It's
That's
like
essentially what we were saying earlier. Right.
which is
Bingo.
probably why it's quite messy, you know?
Yes. And that's why it's ever changing. And that's why you ever realize what a trend is or a fad, and why they jump and they pop all over the place, because it's collective. Now they would call it viral, right? Like a viral video, right?
Yeah.
And why does that take hold? Because everybody's talking about it, because it's in everybody's thought, it's in everybody's perception. So
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, history seems a bit fake. I'm not saying history's not real as if events didn't happen. Yeah, things have happened in the past, right? I get that. We can look back in time, we can't look forward in time in the cosmos. I understand that. But now, with that said, it seems that it's not, there is a surreptitious evil hidden hand. I still think there is. And it would be wrong for me to deny it. And this is where you're like, yeah, now what? I get that. I understand where you're coming from. And I think that's fine. I don't know what my point is that I'm trying to make about it now.
well, you were
Yeah,
just
I
going to go on
just
a rant, and you
that's
stopped
really
yourself.
my point, Steve. Sorry.
You were just going to go on a rant, and you stopped yourself.
No. I'm seriously. I don't want to go on a rant. I don't want to go on a rant about it. I'm trying to. This is what we're doing. I'm trying to convert ranting about it, and I'd rather take it to a higher perspective. I think that's much healthier.
Hey, my computer is going to die, dude.
Are we done then here? Yeah.
Hey, brother, I've had a great talk with you, and I appreciate you. I don't want it to end suddenly, because I got seven minutes left on my computer.
Yeah. All right, man.
So
Fair enough. How long have we been talking for?
it's been a couple hours, I think.
Really?
Yeah, or maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah, I got to go to bed anyway, man, because it's
Okay.
it's 2:30 in the morning here.
Wow.
But yeah, no, it's all right. It's the weekend,
All right,
and
man.
I don't
I appreciate you,
really.
brother. Keep up the piano playing, man. You're excellent.
Yeah, no. That was my final point. Is that, with all that said about the fake past and history, and I'm at the point where I'm like, no, I'm gonna discover who I am now. Like, I'm not playing. I quit. I'm out. I'm done. I literally am done. I don't care anymore, Steve. Not that I don't care as in a nihilistic way where I'm
No,
just
I know what you
gonna
mean.
go
And
off the deep end.
eventually, that's what dying to the world is, right? Dying to the world is just letting the outside world just go, blow up the outside world, not literally, but in your mind, you let it all go, and you detach from it. And that's, why one is the loneliest number that you'll ever find, because you end up alone in the tribulation, because
Alone.
nobody around you will see it the same way, ever.
Alone is
Ever.
all one.
So get that through your head. Nobody will ever see the same thing the same way, ever. And till we learn that, and just learn how to accept people for what they are and who they are, and and just love everybody, then I mean, that sounds a little bit cliche, but I think that's what we truly should be, is living inward, loving outward, and nothing will phase us.
Yeah, amen to that, dude. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Steve. I'll let you get going, man. But I tell you what, just before you go, rather than texting you, next time we're going to do a chat. I'm going to go to a tree in the garden and I'm going to say to the tree, hey, take this message to Steve. Is he around for a live chat? And just email me the link. If you get the message and you're available, just email me the link.
All right, bro.
Let's see if we can communicate through the trees.
I've got some weird situations recently that I could tell everybody that have happened to me, and you wouldn't believe it. I mean, it's.
Oh, I'd believe it.
No, I'm talking to my friend. We're fishing, and I'm like, dude, you know, I wish they'd start chemtrailing today because the sun's pretty damn hot. And I look up, dude. I look up, and the fucking plane starts right above me, dude. I mean, no trail behind it, and it started.
Hey, you said it.
And I said it right there, and I was like, "No way!" And I laughed about it and told him about it, whatever. And then we talked about something else just a couple days later, and that very night, what we were talking about happened, and I was like, "Dude, this is a little bit much, man," and then it happened again with us, and that's what I mean on, those aha moments that you find in your personal path, how they're going to be different for everybody. And those moments show you that reality is malleable by this thing right here. Doesn't make this thing everything, but that thing up there is the processor for reality, and that processor also feeds back into the reality. Whether people think.
Oh, he's gone. Am I still live on YouTube? I don't know, but Steve's battery's died. I'm still live, am I? Okay. Yeah, I don't want to really keep this talk going on his channel. I've usurped his channel. So it's pretty late. I want to get going. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. But yeah, I agree with what Mensa's saying in the chat. I pretty much agree, but I got to try and think about this evil zeitgeist in a more higher perspective. Yes, Steve, still here. All right, Steve, I'm going to get going. I've usurped your channel. I'm an invader from the deep on your channel. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go to bed anyway. It's really late. So thanks, guys. Take care, everyone.